He's looking at the camera.
He was looking like, what?
He's looking like, I don't know what's going on.
Are you driving?
Look, sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
Pull over.
She like pull over. We don't care. Now his camera's gone. But at any rate, welcome, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with the Soul Sisters. So can you tell our listeners, first of all, when did you guys become a unit, and how did you arrive at the name Groove Centric? Don't all talk at once.
Yeah, I was about to say, what's the year?
Yeah,
2008.
because it just kind of happened.
Yeah, but like I read the bio. It's
Right.
2008.
I mean, if y'all need some help, I can give y'all little pointers.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was 2008, and the reason why we came together was all of us are accomplished musicians individually. Each one of us have made a staple in the community and have met a certain rapport on our individual gifts. But we kind of got tired of just playing for everybody else, just playing for this artist, playing for that artist. And we knew we had more in us, so we came together to start creating songs together. And so since then, it's turned out to be two albums, and we didn't hit the pavement running, and we're very excited about where we are and where we headed. And that's that 2008. Yeah.
So how would you say, because I think a lot of people always ask us, and I see them ask a lot of musicians that I know, like, what do you think it takes to be successful? And I mean, success looks different for everybody because a lot of it is longevity, to last. Mm-hmm. What do you think are the recipe for that? And somebody else answer beside Mike.
People skills. You have to be able to relate to people because it's a service-based industry still. So, I mean, how you deal with people, how you talk, how you carry yourself, how you appear attire-wise, all that stuff really matters. Consistency is another big thing too. Consistency in being on time, consistency in performing to the best of abilities, bringing what's required of the gig, but also that little extra sprinkle on top.
Definitely.
So,
what would you say is your style of music? How would you classify your music?
We are a gumbo.
Yeah.
We are one of the most versatile groups that you'll find where, all of us, the foundation was mostly gospel, right? We started at church, and, gospel has roots in everything, blues, jazz, all of that, right? So gospel, and that transformed and kind of speaks to other genres. We got songs that are Latin feel. We got songs that are, gospel feel. We got everything. So it's more complicated as an answer, but jazz.
Yeah, technically it's under the jazz or fusion idiom, but it can kind of fit some anyway.
Yeah.
Did everybody start in church? Start playing music?
I think so.
Initially,
I think so. Yep. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I actually it's so funny that we started on instruments that are not the instruments we're playing right now, right?
Oh, wow.
I started on drums initially. So that was my first thing, and I think you was what?
I was doing both at the same time.
You were doing both
I
at
was
the same
going
time?
back and forth between bass and sax the whole time.
And Brian?
I was doing sax.
Yeah.
I started off on violin.
Yeah.
Violin was my very first instrument.
Oh my God, that was my first one.
Wow.
School, I did sax.
Do you still play the violin?
No.
We like to hear some violin and Groove Centric.
Right.
You're not gonna hear from me.
Oh my goodness. So what would you say, so you guys have a new album out, and how would you describe this new album, and what was the inspiration behind the songs?
I mean, this new album is definitely a culmination of all of our collective energies. See, Dunny being the newest member, hey Dunny, he definitely contributed a whole lot. We all had parts in writing on this particular record.
Yes.
I mean, it's considering this is our second one, it's definitely shown a lot of growth in us as a band, in us getting more, I guess, defined in our direction, our musical direction, and also just the flow that we have in working together. I believe that is definitely exhibited in how the songs came out, and I think we're just overall happy with
Oh yeah.
That's a good thing to feel like. I know most artists, you
Oh,
know what I'm
yeah.
saying, you always go, you finish a project and could have done this, I could have done that, I could have done, but we're pretty happy with it as far as it really expressing what we want to express, what we want to put forth as far as where we are right now. And the next record will be where we are,
Right.
at that particular time.
And it shows our growth. The first, like you said, too, the first album, getting our feet wet. Second album, we're able to pour a little bit more. We had a new member that has a different sound. But all of it is taking us towards this sound that we're walking towards. We're not there yet, but we're a little closer with this one,
Yeah.
and we're gonna get a little bit more closer with the next one. And I think just to use our versatilities in every single song that we do, not just saying, hey, this song sounds like smooth jazz or this sounds like Latin, but just to put us into every single one of them, no matter what genre we trying to play, is the strive. So we're happy. We're good with it. Yeah.
So a lot of people say that, jazz is a dying, I would say, type of music, which I disagree, but because I think that you have so much more access to different music now, so people can really, it's not hard to find that type of music. What do you guys say to that, the success of that genre as a whole?
I don't think it's dying. I think it's changed.
And then Robert Glasper just win the Grammy. I mean,
Yeah.
look at those
They
situations.
got Chris Brown mad. Ooh, and Robert
Glasper. He's the one who beat you. That's
Right.
What do you guys think about that whole mess?
I think I loved it. I mean, honestly, because controversy always brings attention. And so that gets the conversation started. It gets people looking into it and listening, and it gets people exposed to so much other stuff that is in that idiom as well. So I believe it was great because it's a lot of people that really do appreciate and enjoy the music, but they might not have been exposed to certain artists yet. And so just opening and having that conversation on that kind of forum, I mean, I believe it was very beneficial to the idiom as a whole.
Yeah, because look at what Chris Brown had to do. He had to go on Google, type his name in, and then he listened to some tracks. And so indirectly it's spread Robert to Chris. So
it helped him in general, probably. Them record sales probably went up a little bit.
No.
And we will probably see a Chris Brown, Robert Glasper song at some point.
He made that shirt that said, "Who am I?" So whatever it said, it sold out.
Is Robert Glasper. Exactly.
Look, capitalization, honey.
But to answer your question, I don't think jazz is dying. I think as we're seeing now that there's another type of jazz that's kind of taking over, smooth jazz. So if you want to be more specific, traditional jazz is not as popular anymore. I don't think it's dying. It's just that you can't find it as often as smooth jazz. And plus, a lot of the money that's being made is more feel good, smooth jazz music.
Yeah.
And so it's not dying. If we can help it, we're gonna make sure it doesn't die.
It's more commercial now.
Yeah, I was about to say. I was about to say that. That's the main thing. It's like most of the music that's presented these days are a lot simpler. Just overall, just simpler, easier to digest, easier to take in. And I mean, the thing about jazz, man, it's some heavy stuff. What I'm saying? It takes a certain, intellect to understand it, to appreciate it. It takes a certain dogmaticness to even listen and really understand it. You know what I'm saying? To understand and appreciate it to that level. So, I mean, I think that's a big part of it too.
I think we're in the perfect space because we can play all of it.
Oh yeah.
And so we have a song right now as we speak that is circulating on the smooth jazz circuit. We didn't go out and purposely make a track for smooth jazz
at all,
but the sound that we gave fits in that category. So right now it's doing pretty well on the charts on smooth jazz, but you wouldn't classify us as smooth jazz artists.
Right.
But we made a song that kind of fits that. We made a song that fits some Latins. We got a song that's a gospel jazz. We got a song, we all over the place, which is so awesome because we can play in so many different venues and so many different opportunities. And we're excited. If I was to go to a music war, I would take these guys with me.
Oh yeah,
because
battle ready,
man, battle ready every day. We wake up ready.
Well, I mean, I think it speaks to y'all's skill level. Yama?
I was gonna say, who are some of the people individually, y'all, and y'all can answer individually, were your reasons, your why for getting into jazz or getting into music in general? Who are some of the people you guys look up to that came before you?
For me, initially, it was my mom.
Mm-hmm.
She was
Ooh.
very instrumental because she was a music minor in college, and she also was a choir president. So all I knew was gospel music or music.
Okay.
And so that was my first start. And then as I started getting more into music, the Earth, Wind and Fires, and then I started getting into like the Dave Welkels and the Dennis Chambers and different drummers and bass players and just
Names that most people gonna have to look up.
Yes, yes.
No, but that's good though, right? Because it goes back to what you guys were saying, exposing people to other artists and people that they may have never heard of before, and realizing that everything isn't R&B, everything isn't hip hop. There's so much other music out there that's so beautiful. So thank you for that.
Yeah. Hip hop, I can definitely say, was an influence though, especially in introducing me to jazz. Because I mean, the Tribe Called Quest, what I'm saying? All that's with the Jay Dilla stuff.
Yes.
It's like, once you go back and you start to see what did they initially sample, you get hip to those original, jazz songs or, maybe 70s kind of funk jazz stuff that they sampled. And it became some of our favorite hip hop, tracks of the 90s and so on and so forth. So, I mean, just that kind of bridging the gap kind of thing, what I'm saying? It's nothing new under the sun. What I'm saying? Everything just is really just getting reintroduced generation to generation. I mean, I even look at that Lucky Day song with Earth, Wind and Fire. You know what I'm saying? It's just bringing it up to date to this newer generation. I think that's kind of what our job is as kind of curators of the space. What I'm saying? We bring all these influences that we've taken in, and we say gospel, but we've listened to so much different kinds of music. I mean, it has been part smooth jazz and part this because we've listened to so much stuff. And all these influences have culminated, and we just bring a certain appropriateness to music. I think that's what we bring with our particular sound, because we've taken in so much. I mean, doing corporate band and, all this top 40 stuff, it's like we know what works, intrinsically and internally as musicians, which is why we perform so well, even individually, because we know what triggers people. You know what I'm saying? That whole thing of studying what people react to or what they respond to and really knowing that. And I think that's a part of even how we intentionally write and perform, because we want to reach people, we want to touch people, we want to affect people, and not just be just a cerebral experience, but something that you really take with you.
Right.
Yeah.
Mike Jones?
I had similar to Brian, where it was my mom. In fact, it was for the wrong reason for me at the time, because she was a praise and worship leader at the church, and I felt like I was going to be the next Luther. You know what I'm saying? Luther Teddy P / Barry White kind of guy, and so that was my mission. And so when it didn't pan out, that one day when I tried to make that thing sing and it didn't sound good, and I started crying to my mama, and mama said, "Well, son, you don't have to sing. What about you play an instrument?" And so I said, "Which one, mama?" And she said, "You're gonna have to go on the expedition and kind of find yourself." And then I heard Kenny G. I remember like it was yesterday. I heard Kenny G on the radio, and I said, "God darn it, that sounds like singing." And I ran to Mama and said, "Mama, I want to do that." And she was like, "Okay, you're gonna play saxophone."
And so, on the radio.
And I heard it on the radio. On the radio. And so when she got me my sax, that was my first experience. Actually learned by ear, because I just followed her around annoyingly, trying to reproduce what she was singing out of her mouth to what I was trying to do on the sax. And every little line that she did preparing for church in the morning, I would try to do on the sax. So that actually introduced me to improvisation, because I'm trying to build on one line and trying to add to this and make it sweet. So in retrospect, I think that was my biggest gateway to where I am now. And then I started, like Brian, listening to the folks that really, really do it, like John Coltrane and Miles Davis and Charlie Parker. And then I had a band director who was fierce. That dude in Albany, Dr. Carlos Cody.
Oh, really?
His name was Dr. Carlos Cody.
Dr.
And when
Cody.
I tell you that boy had them big old glasses on,
He did.
woo! And when you was out of line, he took that baton and he'll tell you to pull your hand
Oh,
out
it's real.
and he'll pop your
Oh,
knuckles.
it's real.
Get it right the next time. And I said, did he just hit me on my knuckles with that baton? But he was serious. And so that discipline, he had that professional business like, and that was my first time seeing a man. Like my dad wasn't there. The man tell me, sit down. I said, okay. So from that, then, introduced me to music. And then that's all she wrote. I started meeting these guys like this. And I was like, man, let's go.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's me.
Well, I've heard the album, and so I think it's outstanding.
Well, thank you.
You guys are. I've worked
What's your
with
favorite song?
the one we're getting ready to play.
What's that?
What is it?
Stop Time.
No,
Whoa.
we're not
It's
getting ready to play that.
Nostalgia.
Yes, that one. Thank you.
Nostalgia Exhale.
So, guys, before you get out of here, first of all, I see cute Groove Centric t-shirts. Which
Yes.
I know me and Yama getting one.
Yes, y'all are.
But tell everybody before we take a break, because we're gonna go into your single.
Good.
Tell everybody where they can find you on all social media platforms.
Okay, www.groovecentricmusic.com is our official website. That's where you can get the hats, the shirts. We got shirts with the logo on the side, logo on the chest that Brian has. We got all kinds of stuff. We got socks coming. We got earrings.
Oh my God.
Anyway,
What, earrings?
you can go to centricmusic.com. Get all of that. You can find us on Instagram at Groovecentric, Facebook at Groovecentric, Twitter at Groovecentric. We everywhere. Look, and we got all kinds of stuff coming up. Our music is on all the digital platforms like Spotify, iTunes, Apple, all of that. And so look us up. It's great stuff. Follow us, and we love you with the love of the Lord.
Well,
Oh.
thank you, Groove Centric, for hanging out with the Soul Sisters. Guys, we're gonna go out right now with Exhale Nostalgia, and we will be back.
Nostalgia Exhale.
It's Nostalgia Exhale.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Oh, we got it wrong.
I had
That's all
it
right.
backwards.
That's okay. That's all right.
Nostalgia Exhale, guys, and we'll be back.
Yes.
Well, thank you.